I thought I'd make a little video of the yard to start with because I just wasn't sure that we spent enough time the other day, or I was able to really describe some of the stuff that you probably want to know about. These pillars are built out of rock obviously from up the Blue Rock Cut and then a little further up the highway. We built them about 2011 and 2012. They're set deep in the earth and are very sturdy. This front bed, these spruce were from a little nursery in Martin City that Kirby Bartlett owned, and he gave them to us when they were just little tiny sticks. There's some beautiful peony out here in the very front and some daylilies. This is juniper underneath these spruce. I'm just walking right inside that front corner. This whole hedge is made of caragana, and it's been growing here since 1988, I believe, is when we planted it. When we saw that the bark beetle was going to kill most of the big trees here, we went ahead and put in this pretty formidable hedge. You can see that some of these juniper in here are just really very large, and it's also interspersed with some vinca that we brought down from Essex when we moved here in the 80s. Anyway, down the driveway are lilac bushes that are just so beautiful. The blooms, the blossoms in the early spring. I mean, it brings on smell and color all the way down the driveway. Just really fantastic. This front walkway, as you know, is also rock from up the highway. Some of it Tom obviously gathered many years ago, and you know how that story goes. Anyway, this front patio is just such a nice, comfortable spot, and you maybe didn't notice that we have two mega hooks up there. We've hung hammock chairs out here before, but it'd be a nice place for a porch swing, or I don't know, a lot of different things would work there. This front bed is mostly annuals that will just bloom this one year, but there are also some perennials in here, and there's some lavender. This is lavender. Here's some more of the vinca. These are perennials. You don't want to dig them up because they'll come back every single year, just bigger. More lavender. The only thing in here that you'd want to dig out are just these marigolds and zinnias in the middle. These are Gloriosa daisies coming up. Huge, beautiful daisies with black centers. Oh, here's one starting to bloom. Some of them are even prettier than this, though. Remember I told you this tree is a linden, and they're just a super hardy, fragrant, beautiful tree. They lose their leaves in the wintertime. Of course, they're deciduous trees, so takes a lot of raking with that tree, but other than that, you can mow up the leaves as well. This is just a little garden, a little containerized garden in this corner. These are the fruit trees that we talked about a little bit. This one is one that has just got so many apples on it. Tom and I always have made applesauce and dehydrated apples and really love those trees. This one we cut down, it was 35 years old, growing out of an old junk heap that was here when we first bought the property. Anyway, this tree too is going to be cut down. It's just gotten too old. This one is a pear tree. It's got lots of little pears way up high. This is another pear tree. And then way back here is the apple tree, or the plum tree, of course, sorry, that I think we talked about how the bear came in and he skipped this tree. It was still too young. This is the tree that had the grizzly bear mauling occur, so it's just a good lesson in how you have to be sure to pick all your fruit in the fall and either use it or put it in a trash can and get rid of it, because they will come over the fence if there's a lot of fruit available to them. The deck is such a nice place in the morning. And then also in the evenings, right around dinner time, this shoebird will cast shade right onto the deck, and that makes it a perfect place to eat. Hammock for lazing, middle of the day, the shade is right on it. This is that big flower bed. This is some lavender out on this corner by the water. This bed is a mix of annuals and perennials. Most of it is perennial, so most of it just comes up on its own. I've scattered a lot of wildflower seeds and stuff in here, so it's pretty random, but these red flowers are called Maltese, and they're ones that Kirby Bartlett also brought here. These are from Indiana, and we planted them as seeds, and now they've established perennials, so they'll always come up. You don't have to just pull out the dead ones in the fall, you know, the stalks. As we always call this stuff bottle brush. I'm not sure exactly what it's called. Uh-oh. There's the train. There's the train. The whole front of this bed is vinca and snow in the summer, and that's what's up on top, obviously. And these are plants that we brought from Essex when we moved down all those years ago. And they're plants that were here. All the perennial peony that are up in the top of this bed are all from plants that were on the property originally. So that's kind of cool. You know, they're really old stock, and you can split them, you know, if you want to get really crazy and put perennial peony everywhere. You can dig them out, split them up, give them away. Daylilies, same, so easy to grow. They just don't take much, but they're so pretty. I really love them. They're iris in the middle of the bed that come on in the early spring and are just, I mean, amazing. So. And then, of course, all these marigolds and zinnias are annuals. That'll just go this one here. I have to mix it too, because, you know, when you have a perennial, will only bloom for just a brief time, but when you mix in the annuals, you always have color. So remember I told you that the trees that are growing out in the Caragana now are from Forestry Expo. So there are several ponderosa right in here that will just get beautiful and big and just support that boundary. At one point we had this wall, the far wall that's currently been rebuilt on the carport. We filled it all in because we built it in as a wall because the dust sometimes is kind of harsh off their driveway. So this barrier here is important just to keep the dust down as Trinaries, you know, drive down their road. And then that little path goes back up onto the patio. All these plants that you see just scattered around are sunflowers, and they're just about ready to bloom. And all of them were planted by the birds, because during the winter time we put bird seed into this birdhouse up here, And all kinds of birds come in and they eat the birdseed and then they spread it around and it comes up as sunflowers. But you can see they're really beautiful sunflowers that are about to bloom. Oopsie.